you guys, your tenancy agreement should state the time frame at which your rent remains the same. Otherwise, your landlord reserves the right to increase your rent at will. Are you aware that when your rent expires, but you fail to renew your rent, and your landlord wants to evict you from the property, you're not entitled to no notice to quit? Do you know that the moment your rent expires, you are only entitled to 7 days notice of owner's intention to apply to the court to recover possession of property? If and except your rent is still running, you're entitled to a kind of notice that is depending on the kind of tenancy in question. If you're running a monthly tenancy, you're entitled to 1 month's notice to quit. If you're running a quarter yearly tenancy, you're entitled to 3 months notice to quit. If you're running a half yearly tenancy, you're entitled to 6 months notice to quit or 3 months notice to quit, depending on the state in question. And if you're running a yearly tenancy, you're entitled to 6 months notice to quit. It is always advisable to go through the provisions of your tenancy agreement just to be sure of how many months you will get in the case of possible eviction. Possibly seek the help of a legal advisor. If you are not paying any rent, you're entitled to 7 days notice. This is because there is no tenancy agreement in question. From the day your notice to quit is served to the day you eventually leave the premises, you ended up accruing something called a means profit at the rate of your tenancy. What this means is that if your notice to quit was served in December 2024 and you eventually leave the premises in December 2025, you're obligated by law to pay for every month you remained in that premises at the rate of your tenancy. So the moment your notice to quit is served, your tenancy agreement is automatically terminated. And if your landlord serves you a notice to quit at the expiration of your rent, don't see it as a right because it's a privilege. Listen, there are certain rights that you must enjoy by mere fact that you are a tenant in that premises, in that property. Your landlord has no right, however, to lock the door and throw your things outside in a bid to evict you from the property. Your landlord also have no right whatsoever to cut off your water and disconnect your electricity. This is seen as an act of self-help, and you as a tenant can go to court and judgment will definitely be in your favor. There's one key right that you have as a tenant, and this right kind of embodies every other right that you have, which is your right to quiet and peaceful enjoyment of property. This also contains your rights to privacy and your rights to freedom from unreasonable disturbances, meaning your landlord cannot show up at your doorstep unannounced. This is against the law. However, your landlord has the right to come into the premises and inspect the premises, but sufficient notice must be given. The landlord must notify you sufficiently. It must be done the right way. As a tenant, you're entitled to the use of common areas in the property. These common areas could be the walkway, the hallway, the parking lot, the gym, if provided, the lobby, the entrance area, and all that. However, as a tenant, you are not entitled to willful destruction of property. You are not entitled to willfully destroy the improvements you've made on the property. If any destruction must take place, you must seek for the written consent of your landlord. The money you expended in making improvement on the property is entirely different from your rent. It is not legally valid for you to go ask your landlord to subtract the money you've expended in making improvements from your rent. So, except you want to do the improvement at your own free will, for your own benefit and enjoyment, you must always seek for the written consent of your landlord. Yeah. Do you know that the caution fee that you paid your landlord at the entrance of the property, at the time where you were entering into the tenancy, you can take it back at the time you're exiting the tenancy? However, there are certain things that must be considered. There are few things that you can do in order for you to take back your caution fee. If you want to know, just let me know in the comments. You guys, your tenancy agreement should state the time frame at which your rent remains the same. Otherwise, your landlord reserves the right to increase your rent at will. Yes, so it is always advisable to ask if there is such provision and to ensure that the provision is written. Yeah, we all should know by now that every notice to quit must be written and signed. And like I said earlier, if your landlord serves you a notice to quit at the expiration of your rent, it is a privilege and not a right. So stop abusing that woman today and know your rights. Stop abusing that man today and know your rights. Stop fighting your landlord if she's a woman and if you're a man. Thank you. Please like, share, drop a comment, and I'll see you in my very next video. Also, let me know if you want to see more content. If you are not subscribed to my channel, don't you think I should give you some seconds to do that? Thank you very much.